everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach. All the information for me is below. Let me explain how my coaching works for those of you who are new, and for those who aren't subscribed and are listening in. Please subscribe. You're going to learn so much on this channel, and you will be really glad that you subscribed and hit the bell notification for when I go live. I will answer your questions individually. Don't skip over this part. You will need this information. If you're looking for a good coach, you will thank me later. Okay, you need this information. I'm doing this for you. So like I said, my information is below. My website is below. I have different packages for different people. I mainly coach in audio exchange. Now, what does that mean? You record an audio of maximum 20 minutes telling me about yourself. Let me back up a second. The introduction usually is of an hour conversation with you. Okay, this is how we begin when you book coaching with me. I want to get to know you. I want to know what you need to work on in your coaching, what has been done thus far in your life, etc., etc. So this is 1 hour. I would prefer to record it so then I can analyze it later on and take my extensive notes. I take better notes when I'm not in a rush, and I can rewind certain parts of the conversation. Of course, with your permission only, this will be recorded and you will get a copy of this. And then we proceed to the coaching, and so the coaching works in audio exchange. 20 minutes max. Like I said, you record an audio starting with your childhood. We go through the entirety of life that you've lived, okay? Everything that's notable, how you grew up, your parents, siblings, your education, etc., into adolescence, college years, up until today. Everything matters to me to know what has transpired thus far, and your boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, etc. Why? Because I want to get to know the kind of person you are in detail, the kinds of events that affected you, and the kinds of beliefs that you've picked up into today. What kind of person are you today? What kind of beliefs are you working with today? Okay. So once I analyze your audio, which takes me like 2 to 3 hours sometimes because I replay it several times, I take extensive notes. It's more or less like a transcript of your audio, except it's done my way. I have a very particular way of doing it. I write down everything that I think that I need to address with you and talk about with you. And basically, it's like 2 to 3 pages minimum of notes, depending on the density of the audio. People are different. Some people have lived tremendously dense lives, and there's a lot to unpack. So I don't want to ignore any really notable detail. Everything is really important to me, and I really want to, like I said, rewind certain parts, listen to them over and over again in order to hear how you said it, what you said, what words you choose to say about yourself, about other people, your intonation, the emotions in the recording, okay? So we exchange audios back and forth. Now, the package, the monthly unlimited package, which is the most popular package, okay, does include 5 telephone sessions. The rest is audio exchange, and you also have access to me via text, or if there's an emergency, I can get on the phone with you really quick. You do need to schedule those phone calls with me, or at least give me like some kind of a heads up. You can't just pick up the phone and call me. That's not how I work. The other package I have that is a monthly unlimited complete includes unlimited phone calls and also audio exchange and text messages. So we're more on the phone than anything, okay? And I record all of those sessions. Like I said, they're an hour long. I usually do go over, and then I record that conversation with you, of course, with your permission again, and then I go back and listen to it. An hour conversation really does take a long time for me to go through. That's the difference in price. Now, the other packages I recently included are only telephone session based, which is that I am on the phone with you. I don't record an audio back. You don't record an audio to me. We're just conversing on the phone and I'm giving you my advice live. Do I take notes? Yes. But the difference in taking notes while you're on the phone and the extensive notes that I take while I analyze your audio, it's a world of a difference. But you're still getting help. It's just not as thorough. That's the difference in price, right? So, but in those packages that you have with telephone sessions, they're not limited by time, as in, monthly or 2-week unlimited. It's you purchase 5, 10, or 15 phone calls and you can use them whenever you want, okay? The coaching fee is non-refundable. You need to sign an agreement with me. Once you book the coaching, you have to pre-book, okay? And reach out to me and tell me that you've booked with me. Tell me a little bit about what you want to achieve in your coaching, and then we proceed, and I schedule the first phone call with you, and I let you know when we can start, okay? The agreement simply states I'm not a psychologist, that I'm your coach. I'm very direct. You don't get to question my methods. You don't get to be disrespectful. You don't get to bombard me with multiple audios at a time. It's one audio at a time, unless I ask for the next one, in which case that's okay. It's basically very self-explanatory, and that the coaching fee is non-refundable. I assume that if you're coming into coaching with me, you know my personality, you know how direct I am. I don't dilly-dally. I don't have time for that. I'm here to work. I'm here to deliver results. Now, parenthesis here as usual. Yes, you can, book a coaching with me of 2 weeks unlimited, which is another package I have. Yes, you can stay with me for a month. For the thorough, complete work, I do recommend 2 to 3 months, sometimes more, depending on how much of work you need to do. Everybody's different. Some people live through more trauma and drama than others. But ideally, 2 to 3 months, you stay in coaching with me for the thorough work. Most coaches on the internet, from my observation, they don't have this approach. They just offer sessions once a week, or they sell some kinds of sessions, and I don't get it. Like, I need to really get to know you. I need to do my work completely and thoroughly. And at the end of it, I really need to leave you in a place that's stable, that I feel confident that you are in a good place, that you now know what you need to know, that you feel confident, and that my work has been complete. If you come back for a refresher course, it won't be anywhere near where I left you. Okay, some people have come back, a couple months later, or 3 months later, or 6 months later for a refresher course on certain things, and that's fine. We spent like 2 weeks or a month together, and then it really, like, I drove it home and they felt like, okay, I think I'm good now, right? So investing 2 to 3 or even 4 or even 5 months out of your life to really download this and not, keep resorting to YouTube videos or other coaches or other programs, I think it's really worth it because you're really doing it right. I'm really doing it right because I know how it's done. I've done it with many people. Now, I ask you that you show up and you do your part. You don't rebuttal me. You follow my guidance. You will achieve results, okay? I would dare say that I'm the most effective coach out there under the sun than any other coach that you'll ever meet, because I take this very seriously, and like I say, I'm very thorough. I achieve more in my coaching than any person that has come to me with tales of, being in therapy for years and with other coaches. I achieve with them more in those 2 to 3 months that they've achieved in years of being in therapy or with other coaches, if I dare say so myself. So So that really tells you something. But again, I ask you to show up and really understand that, first of all, I don't even charge nowhere near as much as other people charge for coaching. Please do your research. My packages are not as expensive as they could be for the amount of work that I really do and provide, for the amount of support you get from me, and from the amount of time you get to spend with me, and from the amount of time I get to spend on each and every single one of my clients. It's astronomical. So please understand, this is an investment from you, but it's a tremendous investment from myself. Okay. If you're serious about changing your life, enroll in my coaching and really see, even if it's 2 weeks, I know you will stay with me longer because it's never like just 2 weeks. If you're serious about changing your life, enroll in coaching and see for yourself how it works. And if not, then, I just assume that you're comfortable in your dysfunction, and that's about it. Okay, so I really needed to communicate this information because I keep getting emails. So this is for you guys, just to help you out. Thank you. The subject of today is from hot and cold to permanent union. Okay. So I get this a lot in my coaching, and I get a lot of questions about it. Okay, is it possible? Is it even possible to turn the situation around? Some people, live through these situations for years. The ASP comes and goes, or, there's no movement. They don't even show up. They've disconnected from your life. There is no contact and nothing has happened. And a lot of the times what I get is that I've tried affirmations, I've tried visualization, I've tried everything under the sun. I've watched every single YouTube video on SP and nothing is moving. And they're either hot and cold, or they're not there. Okay, so please understand, the reason they're hot and cold, or the reason they're not even there, or there's no movement. Let's just stick to no movement and hot and cold, okay, for the sake of this audio. Okay, if there's no movement, it's because you're preventing it from happening somehow, some way. In either case, whether that's hot and cold or no movement, you're creating it. Okay, this has nothing to do with that other person. They're hot and cold because you're hot and cold about them. The reason you're hot and cold, though, mainly resides with the idea that you don't believe you can have what you want. You don't believe it. You go from one day saying, yes, 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 this is going to work. This is what I want. I think this is going to be fabulous. The next day, you're like, no, I don't think I can have it. Maybe I don't even like them. One day you say, oh my God, I really miss them. They were so wonderful and I like this, that, and the other about them. The next day you say, no, they were an asshole to me, actually. How did they behave like this and like that and like that? Now, parenthesis here, and this is always my disclaimer. If this person was abusive to you in any way, shape, or form, physically, emotionally, or mentally, this is not for you. You don't need to involve yourself with anybody abusive. This is for somebody who simply experiences an unstable result. The result that is not, doesn't stick. Okay, if somebody is abusive to you, drop that shit completely and move on with your life and start manifesting somebody different. In either case, you will need to work on your beliefs, because even manifesting somebody abusive in your life requires self-examination, how you attracted this person in the first place. In both cases, though, whether the person was abusive or not, you need to work on yourself, on your beliefs. So the reason you go yourself hot and cold on this person most of the time has to do with insecurity. I can't have what I want. This is impossible. And you're directly communicating this shit to your SP. It's like this. Ready? I'm sitting here and let's just say my SP was hot and cold with me. Or there is no movement, or not the movement that I want, Okay, I'm waiting for a proposal and they're not fucking proposing to me. I'm waiting to be asked out on a date and they're kind of like stuck in the friend zone or whatever else is the situation. Doesn't really matter. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of this, and I'm transmitting the thought into the quantum field, the invisible internet that everybody has access to, your SP included, that I am unhappy with the results. This person is not doing what I want them to do. I'm really unsatisfied. How come they're not here? How come they're not asking me out? How come they're not proposing to me? How come this is not working how I want it to work? How come he's hot and cold with me? How come she's hot and cold with me? Is there another person? Is there a third party? Okay, every single time you said something like this, you just sent out an order to the universe. And chances are, I bet my money on it, you do this all day long. If this is your situation at the moment, you're doing this all day long. You're literally sending out orders every single time you're thinking about them in this way. You're sending out a command. You're the God of your reality. You're sending out a command that gives them instructions. Now, they're not going to be kind of like reading your mind and receiving this verbatim, but energetically speaking, they are. They can hear you. If you call them an idiot, if you call them whatever, something, nasty about them, or you're dissatisfied, or you say, oh, whatever, they're no good and this and that, they can hear you. They have vibrational ears. They pick up on that energy. They if you say to them, oh, you're probably with another person, bingo, they're going to go with another person. Understand? So you are in charge the entirety of time, and many people don't understand this because this is not taught in school. I wish it were, but here is the manifestational school, okay, of Anna, the manifestational coach. And so they can hear you, they receive your instructions, and they understand on a subconscious level that this is it. This is the situation. They don't want me. They think I'm an idiot, or they think I'm with another person, or they're mad at me 1 second and they're mad at me, or not mad at me the second. And they get all sorts of bombarding communications vibrationally, and thus you get no movement. If you say something nice 1 second and the nasty thing in the next second, it cancels itself out and you get no movement. No movement simply means you are manifesting a really mixed, you are transmitting a really mixed signal and thus receiving nothing. Because the universe, for you to manifest something, you need to be committed to a certain signal, to a certain thought, to a certain idea. You need to be persistent. You need to be, just like in my coaching, you need to be committed to showing up and doing the work and working in a certain direction of bettering your life. In the same manner, you can't stop in the tracks and go backwards and start doing something else. Listen, we're all human. Momentarily, you can get a thought that's not pleasant about this person, especially if there were issues. That's understandable, but you can't make this a recurring habit. It cannot be 50-50. It has to be like 80-20 at least, right? So 80% of the time, you need to think of this person as your wonderful knight in shining armor who you prefer, even if they were not that. Because the version that you're going to manifest is that knight in shining armor who is behaving in a different way. We understand between you and I that, somebody who's behaving hot and cold maybe doesn't even deserve your attention and doesn't deserve any kind of good feedback in that department, but You yourself manifested this kind of version. So it's only up to you and up to you only to change them into a version who is going to be not hot and cold. And so really the frustration is not with that person. The frustration is with you. Because you don't understand what you're doing. Like I said, I wish they taught it in school, but they didn't. So now you're learning something different, that you're in charge and have been in charge this entire time. Your thoughts go out into the universe. This person is reading your thoughts verbatim, energetically speaking. They receive your instructions and they're carrying out your instructions, but precisely. Okay, it works perfectly well. So when people come to me and say, oh, manifestation doesn't work, no, manifestation works perfectly. It's you who doesn't work for you. You're not on your team. You're not producing the results that you want because you don't understand how the fuck this works. That's what's happening. And the underlying reason for that, for the hot and coldness or non-movement, is your beliefs. This is the reason in my coaching we examine beliefs, because when you really get down to it, everybody comes to my coaching, and the most people, I would say 99% of the time, they're like, oh, everything is wonderful, everything is beautiful, everything. No, just the ESP, I just need to work on the ESP. Really? Okay. And then I start talking to them and everything is not so wonderful. There's issues with finances. There are issues with their, the work situation. We start talking about childhood. There's certain issues that were there that they would rather bury and not talk about. Never bury your stuff. Never bury your emotions. It's so unhealthy. And so those emotions need to come up and need to be processed. The beliefs need to be changed in order for you to change. You can run around, fix this issue, fix that issue, SP, this, that, and the other, or you can fix yourself, quote unquote, and turn your attention on working on yourself, on your inside emotions and beliefs. And you know what? Magically, everything fixes itself. Yeah, it works like that. That's what it really is about. So you know what? You can say, for example, some people say, well, maybe it's just that person. Okay. Not really, no. Because you know what? Your beliefs are still your beliefs. If you don't change them, if you move on to the next person, they're still going to be like that. Hot and cold, no movement, maybe, going around with other girls or other guys, this and that. The same situation. You're creating it. Understand, there is no out there. You're interacting with yourself all day long. So if this person is behaving this way, going around with third parties or ignoring you, not texting you, no movement, or, here one day and gone the next, and break up and make up 500 times in a year, it's you who's doing it. It's you who's doing it, and you have to figure out, why are you doing it? You're showing yourself something so clearly. It's like you're watching the same episode on repeat of some kind of never-ending motherfucking soap opera. And you're like, who the fuck is this fucking producer or director that I cannot experience something else? Well, good morning, how are you? The director and producer and the star of the movie is you. So you have to figure out what the script is. In other words, the belief system, the blueprint of your beliefs. And the thing is this, right? Get ready for some real deep work in my coaching. My coaching is a boot camp. You're not going to like some parts of it because it's not easy. Sometimes it's hard to face yourself and realize, oh yeah, oh this, yeah, and this, oh yeah. But wouldn't you rather fix it once and for all and move on to your merry life, moment after momentarily doing some arduous work on yourself? I don't know about you. If somebody offered me such a deal of suffering temporarily in order to have a wonderful life right afterwards, for the rest of my life, I would have to say I'd take that deal in a heartbeat. Because you can run around for the rest of your life from one coach to another, from this seminar to that seminar, reading 1,000 books on self-help and you know what? Until you change your mind, nothing will change on the outside. It's yourself you need to work on. All of this like manifestation situation is dedicated to one thing and one thing only. Well, some try, but most of them have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. But for the most part, there are really good teachers out there. I'll name a few. Bentinho Massaro, I think, is excellent. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, James Lipton. I really like Bashar, the channel who channels Daryl Anka channels Bashar. But again, for me personally, amongst all of these guys, the element that's not present is an interpersonal interaction with people on a daily basis, i.e. coaching. Okay, because you can watch a video, right, by somebody really great and you say, wow, that sounds really good. But what does it have to do with me? How can I benefit from this? Well, unless somebody really examines your history and tries to understand where you're coming from, you know what? It will be like banging your head against the wall, quite frankly. And again, you can go to like 500, Tony Robbins' seminars. And again, he doesn't offer coaching. So a good coach is really hard to come by. Trust me, I know this because I've done the research when I was looking for a coach many years ago. And I found a really expensive coach who coaches celebrities only at $2,000 an hour. And, I really understood what a really good coach is, essentially. Since then, I've met some coaches that don't hold a candle to this person. And I myself, really kind of like, my inspiration is to be that person who totally delivers 100% to their clients in an authentic way, in a real way, not in a fake way, not in a Band-Aid way on a huge wound, but actually healing the wound. Okay. When you're really stable with your understanding, once you go through this process and when you're really kind of comfortable with yourself, in your skin, you don't have these insecurities, you don't have these fucking fears, okay? You don't have this desperation or this hysteria around your SP or anything for that matter, okay? When you know that the starting point is you're the golden Buddha in the middle of the motherfucking universe that you yourself create, and you don't budge about your decisions. You don't budge about the way that you choose to feel about things, regardless of what's going on the outside. Then you know you really have it. Because, yeah, sure, listen, we're all human. Do you think I haven't manifested things that, I haven't particularly enjoyed? But 95% of the time, I enjoy my manifestations profoundly. And that's what I try to teach. But when you're really stable, unless you're really stable, I should say, you can't get there. You still are going to get upset, and you still are going to attribute importance to other people. You're going to say, oh, they're hot and cold. Oh, there's no movement. Instead of saying, don't matter one bit. I can switch it around in 5 seconds if I choose to. All I need to do is change it in my mind. I could change it in my mind. I can sit right here, provided I've done my belief work, right? And say, okay, right this moment in time, my SP has changed. Okay, you want to really learn magic, how to be a magician. This is how I'm giving it to you, and some of you will get it, and some of you will not, because people are at different stages of development. Let's face it. So, and this is no criticism; it's just an observation. It's a journey for everybody, separate journeys for everybody. And so, if you've done the work on your beliefs, you could be like this: I'm sitting here. And I'm saying my SP has now changed. They changed into a different person, a completely different person than they were before. They're not hot and cold anymore. They're completely committed to me. They're obsessed with me. In a healthy way, of course. In a very loving way. And they want commitment with me and nobody else. That's it. That's all you have to think. And that's exactly what will happen. But you only have to think it one time. And the only person you need to convince yourself of this truth is yourself. Because your thoughts, like I said in the beginning, are going out into the quantum field and bringing back the results to you. Other people pick up on your thoughts immediately. Immediately. In a less than split second. This has been proven scientifically. They did an experiment some time ago. They manipulated one particle across the world, and the other one was on the other end of the world, and both reacted the same way, meaning one particle influenced the other. So when one person thinks and the signal goes out into the universe, the quantum field, everybody gets the message, especially if it's specifically designated towards that person. That person gets it like this. It's just like a text message. You press the button, the message went out. They got it. They got it. And they will start thinking what you're thinking right now. It's not manipulation, it's manifestation. It's actually how things work. Have you ever been sitting there and somebody came to mind and you weren't like really particularly thinking of them, but somebody popped into your head? And you're like, wow, I haven't thought about this like in a long time, maybe years. But here they are. Same thing, that person is thinking of you. So it goes vice versa, right? Listen, thought transmission is very powerful. You can create enormous magic through thought transmission and energy transmission. Is basically more or less the same thing, except for thought transmission is, basically changing somebody internally in their mind, and energy transmission is changing. You can change the energy of the person at the distance, or change the energy of the outcome that you prefer. Or manifest the energy that will be of that event. I don't know how else to say it. I'm trying to use the best words I can. It's an energy that goes out there out of you and creates that event. That's energy transmission. And so as soon as you say, they're no longer hot and cold, they're committed to me, they're obsessed with me, they're so loving to me, they want me and never and always they want me and only me. This is not a new person, meaning this is not the same person. I'm having trouble speaking today. This is not the old person. This is a new person. This is a new version of that person that always existed this way. Keep in mind, it's not the same person. So if you're having trouble understanding or imagining that the person could change in such a drastic way, or change period, just keep in mind this person is not the same person. It's a different version of them. The other person is still hot and cold in the parallel reality, which you no longer want to reside in. Okay? They're still playing games. They're still doing this, that, and the other. You don't care about that shit. You're over here on this plane now, on a higher plane of dimension, where shit goes your way. You created that person or manifested him, however you want to say it, out of your will, purely out of your intention, and saying, this is how it's going to go now. Now, of course, parenthesis here, this version always existed. But the idea that you sat down and decided and said once and for all, this is how it's going to go. Your decision was necessary for this to come about into your life, and all you did is transfer yourself into the parallel reality where this person is now no longer hot and cold, completely committed to you, faithful and loyal to you. You experienced a movement. They were always this way, okay? However you need to present this idea to you in terms of accepting it, do it. This is how it actually works on the quantum physics level, on the metaphysical level. But however you want to think of it, do it. Because this is not that hard. It's not that hard when you allow the idea of parallel realities into your mind, and once and for all, marry that idea and create a higher understanding in your mind that things stay the same, that there's no movement, or there's hot and cold for years or however many long months, only because you kept choosing the same parallel reality over and over and over and over again. Because you kept staying the same, you kept being the same person. You stayed the same person for all this time. Once you begin to change, and once you begin to work on your beliefs and on your understanding of the universe, you have permission to go anywhere in terms of parallel realities, whatever. You can create anything. And so you are the time traveler, so to speak, in between parallel realities, but you need to understand that you need to abandon the old beliefs, you need to change them, transform them, and create a new version of yourself in order to experience those situations. The old baggage cannot come into new reality. Forget that shit. You need to really transform it, release it, get rid of it. Okay, and that's what I help do everybody in my coaching. When you become this new version of yourself and manifest what it is you want, it will feel like it was always already there. It will feel so surreal to you that you ever lived anything else. True story. I know this from my personal experience and from the experience of my clients. And so from no movement to avalanches of events, or from hot to cold to perfect union, it feels like, well, I could have always done this. Why didn't I choose it all this time before? You see, because you couldn't, with the vibration that you were in, with the beliefs that you were carrying, which hold a very strong, heavy vibration in some cases, you couldn't manifest that. And out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere, you receive all the goodies that you really wanted to receive, simply because you took the time to understand how it really works, and that you are in the middle of all this creation. You're the golden Buddha, and you create, and it has everything to do with you. Okay, thank you so much for listening. All the information again is below. The email is below if you have any questions before booking my coaching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.